Hi folks, welcome back. This is Arlene once again from the Carver's Woodshop. We're going to do a new project which is going to be a drummer boy. In fact, I've never done one. I don't see many of carvings of one, and somebody had called me. I wanted to stop in at my shop here at the studio, at the camper studio, and wanted to ask if I had a drummer boy, a little drummer boy. She collected them and I said, no I don't, but you know, that was a good idea to go ahead and try to make one. Now folks, I've never made one before. I have no clue how this is going to turn out. Your guess is as good as mine, but if you see it on YouTube, apparently I got it done to the way I like it and posted it. So let's see how this progresses, and we'll take it one step at a time. Now the little drummer boy that I'm going to do, I'm going to try to match it with my nativity scene I already have. So this is the one we did the sheep out of, and I needed a little bit wider to put the drum in here, so I was thinking about this last few days how I could do this, and I think I came up with a plan, but we'll see what happens. So this is about almost 3.5, well it is 3.5 inches long. The base is I think an inch, let's see, it's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and the top is just about an inch, maybe 7/8 of an inch square. Alright, now this has a couple of little knotty knots in it. I'm not going to worry about that because we're going to paint it anyway. Sometimes you can still use the paint, it's just a little harder to where they run into. It looks like it's going across from here to here, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. The first thing I'm going to do, because he's going to have a little bit of a hat or whatever they call it, like a little shepherd's hat. We're going to make him more like a little shepherd boy, but with a drum, and it's going to be kind of interesting. Remember this? Doing carving children and women and females, it's a little harder to do the face because the face is not squared, it's more rounded and a little more not distinctive with their features as a male face would be. So when you see carvings, you see a lot of Santas and such, but you don't see a lot of women and children being carved out of wood. Not saying you don't see them, you do, but not, the ratio is much different, because with the men you can, with the especially the Santas and the wizards that they do, you can put a beard on it and give it some neat effects. So let's go ahead. We're going to round off the top first. Let's do that. I'm going to spray it a little bit with my rubbing alcohol and water 50-50 mix, just to make things a little easier for me today. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to round this off. Alright, I'm using a Murphy knife here. I had one of my students didn't have a very good knife, and I let him borrow one of these, and this works pretty good. This is an old Murphy knife. The shape is nice. I have a little bit of a tape around it so it's not slippery. Murphy knives are a good beginner's knife, but make sure you get it from a good carving house or a carving supply house. Simply because I find that the Murphy knives sold at the major hobby stores are not of the same quality. If you're only paying $10 at a hobby store, steer away from it because you will not get an edge on it. Well, I certainly couldn't get one on mine, so I had a student that had a Murphy knife and it just didn't work out well for him because it was a low grade steel, and this one here is a good quality. It holds an edge pretty well. You'll see me switching knives to whatever is sharpest at the time. So I'm going to get rid of all these marks up here. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to just bring this down a little bit on I'm not going to go real far and real low like I would on a shepherd that I would do. It's going to be a shorter little thing here. It's not it's not going to be a long one, so we're going to just bring this out like so. Alright, so this is going to be the front, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just try to round out where the hat is going to be. It's going to be very, very short. It's not going to be very long. Like I said, it might even be a little shorter than that. Just a little cap here. I'm going to bring this down and around a little bit around the nose here. All right. I'm going to try to match it with what I already have there. Not sure if I'm going to put any eyes on him or not. I don't think so, but we'll see what becomes of it. All right. So what I've done here, we're going to go up a little higher, and this nose is not going to be real big. I don't think it will be real big, but the drum is going to come out over here. Okay, so that's going to be a big major project to put that in there. Alright, so we're going to do the corners first. We're going to follow the line up. Alright, going to follow the line over here. And see, I drew it at a diagonal, and that's how you want to put the cut in. It's a stop cut. Stop cut's very simple. It's just putting pressure where you want the line to be, where you want your where you want your cut to stop on the carving. So this is called a stop cut, when you put your cut in and then you bring it up and it stops at that line. Comes in very, very handy. I'm going to go a little bit lower. There we go. We're going to have it drape in a little bit. Alright. So, up here we're going to bring this down. Alright. I brought it down just a tad. Somebody asked me what is a tad? A small amount. I use that word a lot. Sorry, it's just my terminology. Okay, so we're going to match these. I had it a little bit lower, but I put a little bit of a curvature on them. Sometimes it gives it a little bit nicer effect when you're done. Alright, I'm going to bring this down and around, and I'm just going to chop that out. Give us an idea where everything's at. Make sure you have your glove and your thumb guard on before you start carving. I should have said that earlier, but say that now. The other day I did end up cutting myself in the class, and I'll tell you how. I'm not shy to tell you how. I was carving and the knife slipped out of my hand, and my other I had it in one hand, and I went to put it on the table, I believe it was, and it slipped right out of my hand, and this hand went to go catch it, and I had cut myself, trying to think where I cut myself, right across here somewhere. You can see a little bit of it yet, and it was a pretty deep cut. I was surprised how quick, but you know, those are the mishaps you have, even just not carving with a knife. You need to be careful. It's a natural reaction to try to catch something that you just dropped, and so I don't know how you train yourself not to do that. I don't know, but if I would have had a glove on or a thumb guard on, I think it wouldn't have made a whole lot of difference, simply because it was more of a stab than a slicing cut. And